Hey guys, what's up? It's Sonicgott. I just want to talk about a little bit of a frustrating experience. It happens to be about Ingress Prime. For some of you who may have known me for a while, I've played Ingress for a couple of years now. Gotten really good at it, gotten used to it. It's been one of my favorite games where basically I go visit new places, do new things, and then I'm battling frogs on the cell phone and I'm having a good time. But lately, they've announced Ingress Prime, which was just released a couple of days ago. So I'm all hyped, and new graphics and new interface and stuff, and everything's nice. And I download it and install it, and then things just kind of go south. So one of the first features that Ingress introduced was the redacted ability, where you could actually reset your profile, keep all of your original AP, keep all your badges, but you can start from level 1 again, and you get this nifty little phoenix icon on your profile. So I'm starting to play the game, and I'm noticing a lot of things are just completely out of place. And while it is a new user interface and getting used to it, I notice that the game is particularly buggy and slow. Just sending off a link is slow. I have to wait like 3 to 4 seconds to do anything. That wasn't like that in the previous game. Creating fields, that is pretty slow. Glyphing now is kind of buggy. Sometimes the game will forget that I've lifted my finger off the interface and now I want to input the next glyph. But instead it thinks I haven't removed my finger and still thinks I'm trying to glyph. And it just completely ruins the whole experience, and that's not fun. So between having a slow interface and a buggy glyphing sequence, there's other problems that I've come across. And namely the AP, the action points or activity points that you gain every time you do something, right? So what happens is I do something and the AP doesn't always show up on the screen. In the previous game, the AP would show up on your screen when it tells you that you've completed something that you're doing. Like, hey, I've thrown a link. Did I get the 313 AP? Cool. Or I'm deploying in a portal. Did I get the 625 AP for the first deploy? Yes. Which means I've successfully interacted with something. But it's not doing that half the time. Half the time, it just shows me a blank screen. And then the graphics, the graphics, when they're showing us the new interface on the video, everything looks sharp and fantastic. But when I'm playing it on my actual iPhone, everything's all blurry and ethereal, and it's just a disgusting experience. Not only that, but interacting with objects that are relatively close to each other. Well, let's just say there's a portal key on the ground right next to a portal. Well, I can't pick it up because I can't tap on it because it still thinks I'm tapping on the portal and not the key. And in the previous game, if two objects were really close to each other, it would give you a little sub-menu, like, what do you mean? What do you want to do here? Where I could select an object from the sub-menu so I could pick up the object. But no, it doesn't let you do that. So portal key stays on the ground because I can't pick it up. That's not fun either. So there's a whole bunch of really buggy user interfaces that really need to be ironed out. The user interface needs to be sped up. The glitching needs to be fixed. The AP gain needs to be 100% consistent, not just more. It needs to be 100%. Like every time I complete an action, I need to see that AP show up on the screen. Speed locking. Apparently the game doesn't really know what a speed lock is. I've been able to hack even at 60 miles an hour. I don't recommend you do that though. It was just a test. And the graphics are way too blurry. And in certain cases, like when I'm throwing a field, it's this like little wispy blue blanket that I'm throwing, and it's just blurry, and it doesn't look very good. And it takes forever to do anything. And I got frustrated after about 30 minutes of trying to play outside, and I'm used to cold weather. I don't really have a problem with it, but when the game is, glitchy or acting up, and that's the other thing. Sometimes it just refuses to respond altogether, and I have to quit out of the app and relaunch it. And I had to do that over and over and over. And it's just not fun. So, I mean, these things, they really needed it to be patched beforehand. Otherwise, in terms of the gameplay, the strategies, everything else that's involved, all it really was is it's just a new user interface, but it's less playable now than it was beforehand, and I don't really see a reason why that has become such an issue. It could have been the fact that the game engine has changed. It's a new game engine. It's very similar to, this, it's actually the same game engine as what Pokemon Go plays on, but Pokemon Go, it actually functions pretty well. Aside from, periodic crashing, but that happens sometimes. They'll have to do that in an update. So overall, my final score for Ingress Prime, I'm going to give it a little bit less than I give it on the App Store. I'm going to give it maybe about a 2 out of 5 right now, because while the game seems fun, user interface is glitchy, interactions are glitchy or non-consistent, graphics are very blurry. It's hard to receive or grab objects on the ground if they're too close to each other, or if there's two objects too close to each other, it'll interact with one but not the other, and that's just not a really good experience. So right now, I'd suggest that if you are on Android, download the redacted version of Ingress and use that instead. It's much more responsive. And iOS users, if you haven't updated yet, do not upgrade to Ingress Prime until Niantic releases redacted. Otherwise, it's just not going to be a fun experience right now. It really sucks. It does. I wanted to get to level 8 today, and things just aren't working like they should be, and I pretty much just left home frustrated. So, yeah, Niantic, you got to step up your game, man. This is really not cool. And I really hate giving bad reviews like this. I was at the Ingress Anomaly in downtown Minneapolis a couple months ago. Actually, no, it was just last month. Excuse me, it was just last month. And Ethan, one of the guys that works for Niantic, he's really nice. Very nice guy. But he's overworked. They're making him do way too much all at once, and he needs more help. Niantic, I don't know if you'll have a chance to listen to this video, but if you do, please give Ethan a raise or get him some help. The poor guy can only do so much at once. So for that being said, I really appreciate it. But Ingress Prime needs to be worked on. It wasn't ready for release. It feels like a beta. It's not polished, it's not sharp, and it's unresponsive, and it's slow. It really needs to be fixed. So I apologize, but that's my take on it. I've been doing gaming for many, many years, and buggy, slow user interfaces are not fun. So that being said, I appreciate you listening. My name is Sonicgott, and you all have yourselves a good night. Oh, and never underestimate the power of a gamer. Peace!